Monday Night Football, baby. We're here.
There's only one other good play on Minnesota.
Touchdown in 46 seconds. Punches back. Touchdown.
Run Pure Sports UFC 323, DVALISHVILI versus Jan number 2. We also have Pantoja and Van and another 5-round flyweight championship of the world. Last card of the year, but man, is this thing loaded. We finally have a fantastic slate with 14 fight on it. We have a little bit of everything on it. We've got the women's fights mixed in. We've got some newcomers. We've got some people that are trying to make a late push in their UFC careers. I think the only thing we're missing, JSU, is a heavyweight banger, like a heavyweight sloppy fight. That's the only thing we're missing on this slate. It's crazy. I am Mike Brown, aka H3 Buddha, here with JSU. Man, I'm ready for fights. I'm sad. We got so many weeks off after this. This is the one we're focused on, but ending the year on a high note.
Yeah, ending the year definitely on a high note. Some awesome fights to end us off with, and can't wait for the the double main event fights here. We got a couple of massive fights on the card. Marab going for his 50th fight of the year. It's a great time. It's a great time to be a fight fan, and 2 more cards this week and next week, and then we get a little break from UFC, which kind of stinks, but I'm going to enjoy these next 2 weeks because I know what's going to happen. And right away that 2 weeks later, we're all going to be like, shit, this sucks. No UFC for like a couple weeks, but that's why you got to enjoy these next few weeks, man.
That's why they they load it here with a great card, and then it's like, all right, here's a little bit of a letdown. The last numbered card is going to be a big deal, and honestly, we're gearing up towards the Paramount.
I will say I am stoked to get rid of my ESPN Plus. I can't wait to stop paying.
Does your shit refresh? Like, so every time it hits a commercial break on my TV, and I've paired it with my phone, the thing like glitches. Does it happen to you?
Yes, all the time.
Every single commercial break. Yeah. I'm like,
and then you're behind. Like you're behind terrible. Others. It's so bad. It's so bad. That's why I can't wait to get rid of it. I know there's some reasons to keep it, but not enough for me probably to keep it. So yeah,
absolutely makes sense, man. Let's just hop into things, man. 14 fights. We start the night off with a decent one here with Marion Santos versus Mohamed Naimov. We have Marion Santos coming in as a favorite in this fight against Naimov, who's, what's his attributes? It's got to be the wrestling side of things. He's going in there. I guess it was durability for a bit. DraftKings Sportsbook having Santos a near -250 range, -238 at this stage. A comeback of +195 for Naimov. When you look at scoring ability, and there's a certain amount of fighters on this slate that have that wrestling, that have the takedowns in their back pocket. I look at Naimov at being one of those guys. Now, I think this is a trap fight, first fight of the night when it comes to scoring, DFS wise, because it's going to really take Santos a dominant, and he should have an advantage on the feet. Let's just say he definitely should have an advantage. I look at this as Naimov stalls out the scoring. He probably could have some success in the first round, grind on him a little, but Santos takes over this fight late. I don't think he scores very well fantasy-wise. I don't think he gets the 100 points. We're absolutely going to need 100 to 105 plus out of every fighter on this slate. I guarantee you that. And there are a lot of playable dogs. I'm just not getting the Naimov. I think Santos is the better prospect, the better guy moving up. He's got the takedown defense. It seems like it's pretty decent. Even if he's taken down once, I think he can still win via striking, and that just isn't going to score well for fantasy-wise, JSU.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think this fight plays out majority on the feet, which is going to give Santos the big advantage. Maybe Naimov tries to go for takedowns early, but I don't think that's going to stick. I think, with this being probably mainly a striking fight here on the feet, I got to lean the Santos side as a pick. He probably wins via decision. I think Naimov is tough, though. I think he's a solid kind of all-around fighter. I just think where this fight's going to play out, that's where Santos wants it to play out. So if he's dictating the fight, then it's probably going to mean he wins the fight. But looking at the pick six angle of it, I don't know. I mean, the fantasy point line is pretty low for a 9K fighter. Mike, I know you're probably looking at that. I don't know how well he's going to.
Yeah.
But if this does play out on the feet, what about the significant strike lines?
Well, did you just see that Santos just went down in projections as you mentioned it?
Yeah.
You said pick six and Santos went down. That would lead me to think perhaps there would be a finish. I think if there's a low amount of significant strikes, there is going to be a finish. I actually look at a bunch of different fights on this particular slate having a lot of 2-3 action, right? Like, so if fighter A does gasses out in the first round, you're going to have a lot of value on these prop markets for round 2, round 3. I think there's enough durability in the fight that it goes to a decision. I mean, Santos is plus 275 on DraftKings Sportsbook to win by a finish. That 14.5 looks good. Unfortunately, it's a 0.7. We want a full point for our pick six. I don't think there's a lot to be had. I mean, unless you think, I guess Naimov is going to go for takedowns. You don't. I would like the 2.5. I don't think he would even get 2.5. I think Santos is smart.
I mean, I think he could try and go for takedowns for sure. I don't know if it's necessarily going to work. I think he could try and hold him up against the cage a little bit, but in space, I definitely think that's where Santos is going to thrive. And I don't think Naimov's going to be able to stall enough on the ground or up against the cage to where it's going to matter. So that's why, though, I'm looking at the lines. It's like, okay, do you think there's a finish? I don't think there is, honestly. I respect Naimov enough to think he's durable enough to.
It might be a club and sub. It would take like some flashy strike that leads to a back take, like, which doesn't seem to be a high.
I don't even think that's how Santos would do it anyways. So he's pretty precise. I don't know. I would like the significant strike line. I think this fight goes to a decision. So not that these guys throw a ton of strikes, but the line kind of seems low if I think the fight's going to a decision.
For which fighter?
Honestly, for both. For both.
Interesting. So I'm just trying to pull up quickly the UFC stats just to see what we got for typical Santos fights. The other thing I was looking at for a prop market would have been
he was 40, 58, and 31 in a second round finish over Offley. So yeah, in his 2 3-round fights, he was 40 and 58. But Sadiq Youssef, I think, is a solid all-around fighter, knows how to, at times stay safe. Like, against Marshall, he threw 58 significant strikes. Again, he's not a high output guy, but if we think the fight goes to a decision, then I think it's interesting.
Yeah, no, we know that exists. I don't know if I want to go on it right away. It's up to you. I don't think you need to take anything here. There's 14 fights.
That's fair.
We can always know that we have both these guys with lower totals. So, but I did want to say, I don't know if
the problem with bigger MMA contests is, I think, right now where it is football season, they've got just so much into the Sunday football. They've got NBA going right now.
There's just a lot playoffs.
Of college football's going on right now. They just got a lot of stuff going on in the lighter sports seasons where MMA is going on. That's where you probably get the bigger stuff. What's the main on DraftKings, Mike?
The main one contest is 25, and isn't it 250?
Is it 200 or 250?
Clicking quickly.
It's 100K to first. So it's 100K to first.
Yeah. So. But I guarantee
that makes sense in the season that we're in is more my point. You'll see bigger ones. You'll see bigger ones in the lighter seasons.
This card deserves a bigger one, but they wouldn't do it because of college football, whatever it is, the championship week, I believe it is. And the last thing on this fight, I do think that a split is potentially impossible. Not impossible because of Naimov. Like a lot of his fights end up being a little greasy. Let's not even get into the Santos fights where he didn't win, but he's won.
I mean, honestly, too, like Naimov is solid. Like, I don't think he's from a betting standpoint, I don't think it's crazy to take a shot on him as a dog or play a little of him in DFS. It's just the low output to where you're going to need, his takedowns. And I just don't know if he's going to get like volume takedowns or volume significant strikes. So in a win, like Mike's saying, where it's a split, he probably still doesn't score that great for DFS, but just does enough to edge Santos out, who also doesn't throw a lot of volume. So, it's kind of a bad fight for DFS, but it's not a terrible fight to kind of take a chance on a dog if you wanted to.
Absolutely. I agree with that one. Next one we're going with Mansour Abdulmalik, biggest favorite on the card versus Antonio Tricoli. Antonio Tricoli, more focused, it seems, on trying to play some pokers nowadays. He's actually actively on that poker scene. I believe he was Mrs. Dern there for a bit. I think he was dating Mackenzie Dern. What can we say about him? He's an enhancement talent. They have him in here to do a job against Mansour Abdulmalik, who's a massive favorite, who has been developing in the UFC so far. It's a guy who is not a refined prospect, but he's working his way up. He's got a little bit of everything. When I talk about potential blow up on the slate guy, of course, he's the biggest favorite. He's the biggest possibility of getting a finish. The whole question is, does he get it done too quickly? Not as in a 60-second win, but does he get, a 2-minute win when you really want a minute, or less, or just a dominant first round? I think he goes to wrestling, which makes me interested in him. He's very easy to play as well. It's not like you're really struggling to get to a guy of this price tag. But, I mean, biggest favorite on the card, near minus 1,000 inside the distance line. Obviously, people want to click him first in cash games. But, the other thing, too, that I thought was funny, I saw on Twitter, somebody's like, Tricoli's going to like give his neck so he gets submitted so he can go and play some poker in Vegas at the end. I mean, that is objectively pretty funny. He doesn't want that pretty face all beat up for the poker game that's hot.
Did I catch this wrong? Did you say Mansour was going to wrestle in this fight, or am I crazy? Did I hear things?
No, you're hearing things.
Okay.
Because I said it.
Oh, you did say it. Okay. I was like,
he could wrestle.
I don't think he's going to here. I think if anything, Tricoli's the one trying to get this thing to the ground. The problem is Tricoli's bad. And if you watched Mansour's fight against, who was it, Nick Klein, he took like I think it was a spinning back fist, and it wobbled Mansour. It hurt him. And Nick Klein had his back up against the cage for like a good 2 minutes, it felt like. And Mansour found a way to defend, even though he did grab the cage a little bit, but he was doing decent in the defense, even though he was still hurt, and then was able to, kind of like brush off the cobwebs a little bit. And in the second round, he stopped the grappling. He stuffed some takedowns or some single legs where Nick Klein had like deep single legs and just couldn't finish them. And then he ends up finding the finish. The problem with Mansour for DFS, because I like him, but at 9,800, what do we need? We need either a quick win, dominant win, or we need like takedowns or volume. Guess what Mansour doesn't do? Doesn't go for takedowns. He doesn't go for volume. This dude is pressure, but it's empty pressure. It's honestly, he's trying to get reads. He's trying to be very precise. He's trying to fight smart. If you listen to like everything he said in past fights, his coaches like being patient, saying things like, if this thing goes into deep waters, I'll be fine and stuff like that. So like he's almost thinking like, hey, if this thing goes longer, I'll have the cardio to last, as opposed to just going in there and just trying to run through a guy like what we want for DFS. So that's my one problem with Manser. I do think he gets it done. I do think he wins. The problem is, does he win quick? If not, does he get the volume? I'm not sure he does. So that's my one issue for DFS. I'm probably still going to play some just because the 9K range is not very good, and I'm not playing Santos, and I'm not playing a couple other guys. So you kind of get pigeonholed into a few of them, some being in the main events, and then, obviously like one or two more. But you can definitely make a case to fade Manser at 9,800 the way he fights, because I don't even know, like, at his price tag, Mike, does 105 get him there for sure? I don't think so.
That's what I said. I think the quick win is like what, $125, $130, and a deep first round. Like you said, if it's going to be slower pace without takedowns, there's not even a single takedown offshore or DraftKings.
Look at this, 111, Mike. So how's he getting 111 if he doesn't get the quick win? Which he could get the quick win, but I'm saying if he doesn't.
That is a bizarre line. I think you're forced to take the under there.
I'm forced to take the under. Yeah.
Like a first round, like 1 minute, 30-second knockout is still under 111.
Dude, so I saw this too, Ryan. So like Tricoli is a big dude. Like he's just, he is a big guy. And Manser's definitely still going to have more of the power, but Tricoli's not like a small guy for sure. He's a big dude.
Yeah, and it's just comes down to pricing on this slate. I'm living and loving those underdogs that are just slight underdogs. So, you're going to have to jam in multiple of those guys, take the risk there to get to an Abdul Malik. And I do think that salary is worth a lot more when you've got 2 5-round absolute studs for scoring. That's where the ownership's going to go. Perhaps Abdul is going to come in a little bit lower owned. I mean, that would be a reason to play him. But again, I'm not sold on this one. I do think interesting would be like a club and sub type of market, honestly, for Abdul, because this is another situation where you've got a guy that's minus 1,000 to win inside the distance, and he's like plus 700 to win by submission. I try to dissect it a little bit differently than other people. That's why
I'm not overthinking this. I think he finds the KO. I'm just making the case for why he wouldn't give you the nut score in DFS. So
yeah, it's strictly
it's not me saying he doesn't make this fight look easy. It's not me saying he doesn't find a knockout. I think he will, but watch him fight. There's patience. There's pressure, but it's a lot of patience. And against guys that honestly he probably shouldn't respect as much. Like, I mean, it just is what it is. So, yeah, I mean, you could still take for him to get the knockout in the first round. I think the second round knockout's interesting. It goes from minus 110 to plus 400. I don't think that's a crazy stab.
Especially if he's tactical. You mentioned it right off the bat in your breakdown.
I mean, if he fights the way he fought in every single other fight I've watched, outside of the Dusko fight, but Dusko like tried to make it. This was the difference. Dusko tried to make it like a car crash, and then Manser just he does this in fights. I don't know if you notice it, Mike. He'll like just shove guys down. Do you notice that? He did it in like 2 of his fights.
He big brothers them.
Yeah, they'll get in tight and he'll just be like, get off me kind of thing. And you'll see like the 2-hand shove and they'll just go right to the ground. And then Dusko was trying to play jujitsu with his legs and Manser was just like laying the hammer strikes down on him and stuff like that. And Dusko's so tough that I don't know how he survived those first few ground strikes because they were super powerful
missiles.
He ends up getting finished, but it's more to the point of like, I don't know if Tricoli's gonna be like, I'm just gonna try and run through him. Like, I don't think that's his game plan. Maybe it is.
Yeah, no, I agree with you at 30 to 40%, 35 maybe. I don't know. I'm fading in DFS. I think we've uncovered a great leg for our pick 6, though. That under is a really juicy pick. We move on to the next fight of the night, which I am in love with this fight. It is so ugly. It is a beautiful thing. Iwu Baraneski versus Ibu Aslan. It's Ibu versus Iwu. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Battle of the 3 letters. But we have Iwu coming in as the favorite off of the Contender Series. He gets a win against Mike Tyson, right? Wasn't it Mike Tyson he got a win off of? Interesting one. I like the bet into the unknown. Tyson was terrible. He was fighting nobody. I looked at that fight as one of the situations on the Contender Series where you dealt 2 very, very, very shitty guys that haven't faced anybody. So when that happens, I'll take the dog. Muhammad Ali. Oh yeah, Muhammad Ali.
I was like Mike Tyson, and then I didn't want to interrupt you, and then I was like,
no, Muhammad Ali. Listen, I'm so hopped up on cold medicine right now. You know, brain's just slightly.
Mike's
behind.
been sick for like 3 weeks, literally. I don't know what he has, but he's been sick. You must have like the flu or something.
Yeah, we're battling here. But yes, thank you. Muhammad Ali, not the greatest of all time, the one that gets knocked out in 20 seconds on the Contender Series. But back to my story about on the Contender Series, I love when there's just 2 guys that are facing the lowest, like the 0-10 guys, the 10-32s. That's when you take the opportunity to take the underdog. So I did take Baraneski in that one. Didn't think he was going to win, but I just knew there would be value. Now he's stepping up. This is a legit step up. I am still shocked by this betting line. Am I the only person? Because Ibu is not great. He clearly doesn't put the gas pedal down. That last fight, Alicana, erase that from my memory. What the fuck was that? That was
like one of the worst fights we've had to watch.
It didn't even take place like in my brain. Like, what the hell? Like, at least Iwan Kudalaba, there's no way they're not going to go. And even Billy, right? We saw Billy after that fight go for it. Like, I mean, Ibu, you got to go. And I think he can put it on Baraneski. When I look at leverage plays on this particular slate, you're going to have a 30% owned Baraneski. This is an elite fight to target on this slate due to the finish equity. When it gets stretched out, though, I don't think it's going to be very pretty. But I do think Ibu is an elite leverage play on this slate. 15% owned against the 30%.
Yeah, no, I think this is a good fight for DFS. I mean, Ibu definitely knows that his last fight was shit. I'm sure he's going to come in a little. I mean, he has to come in more aggressive. You can't come in. I mean, like, there's no way he could come in less aggressive than he did last fight. So he's got to come in more aggressive. The kid he's fighting I think he's solid. I think he's a solid fighter. I think we didn't get to see a ton of them on Contender Series because, like you said, it was a 20-second and done fight. I think he's kind of well-rounded too. So I think he's got a decent, well-rounded game. But one thing I will say, if he just comes in here thinking he's going to walk right through Ibo's got a chin. That's one thing he does have is a chin. He can take some shots. So I wonder, Mike, is this a spot where we like the over? Like, do we think this goes to round 2? The fight time's 4.5 minutes. Is Ibu and Iwu tough enough to fight for a round?
That's the world's best question, because I said it's elite equity here for Ibu. All for fantasy is caked into that first round. I don't know what it looks like. Anybody that tells you that knows how this is going to play out down the stretch is crazy, because it could get so ugly there's no scoring, or it could be ugly where it's a car crash.
I could see Iwu trying to get it to the ground,
which is interesting on him. And you know what? He's got one of the more elite inside the distance lines on the slate. When you talk about quote unquote chalk, I don't think he's super stone cold chalk, but out of these 8,800 to say 8,500, he is the highest owned at 32%. So a third of the field is going to play him. And you're talking about first round equity. I don't know how you could bet against these guys trying to come for it. Like, they know nothing but forward. Problem is, Ibu has to know. I love people are talking about that fight potentially being fixed, by the way. Yeah, but if Ibu was fixing that fight, what is he fixing? The under significant strikes? Like, I don't know. Like,
Fight to go to decision. It had to pay. That fight went to decision, didn't it?
yeah, and it was highly expected to finish because it was Ibu.
That's what I'm saying. Fight to go to decision.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you could bet like the props are so. I'm sure the over/under round was 1.5. I'm sure the fight to go to decision was probably like what +4 500.
Yeah.
Not just
So
picking the winner, but fight to go to decision. Like, so there's ways. There's ways.
A little head nod, you know, like hey. What were you thinking? Were you legitimately thinking over 4.5 minutes?
No, I was just looking at the pick six. I honestly don't love this fight because you're right. I don't know what I'm gonna get from Ibu. I don't know how he's gonna come in here. I do think he's tough enough, even if he comes in more aggressive, to kind of withstand at least the first onslaught of Iwu here. But
we're talking in like Star Wars, aren't they?
Yeah, it's crazy. Iwu and Ibu. But the question is, what does the fight look like if it does go past the first round? That is the unknown of unknown questions here, and I'm sure
either guy could wrestle. It's terrifying to say. Ibu could try to wrestle. That's just how it is.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to come in trying, but
no, down the stretch. That's all I'm saying. Way down the stretch. But yeah, I do think again for fantasy wise, when you're trying to win $100,000 by itself, Ibu Aslan is one of those guys I'm targeting. You're going to see a mold of guys that I really think are very, very interesting going against the expected to win inside the distance guys like Iwu. That's what I like to target on a slate like this. That really blows me up.
It's so funny. Ibu's wins in the UFC are like some of the worst guys. Like they're so bad. Those
why
wins
is he
so bad?
Why is he the underdog here? I don't want to go on a tangent. I know we have a lot to break down,
because he hasn't really beat anyone. He hasn't beat anyone, and then he stared at Billy Elicana for 3 rounds and did nothing. Like that. I mean, I don't know.
Exactly. 2-0, 0-0, 6-6, 9-5, 2-0-1 before he gets onto the Contender Series. Who the hell goes 2-0-1? And he's taking everybody out in the first round, arm bars or ground and pound for Iwu, I guess. But he's not. He never came.
I think he could go to the ground. I think he would be the one taking this to the ground.
Yeah.
So
who would you like in DFS? So minus whatever 125, 150 inside the distance.
Well, I think it's a good fight to target for sure in DFS. And I like your case to be made for the underdog. Let me see. I think I have more. Let me see.
It's more of a game theory-esque type of play. Not to mention he opens your salary up, which is so valuable. There's a lot of value in getting a little bit more salary relief on this slate than there is.
I got them pretty similar, like 20%, 25%. So, yeah, I kind of agree with this here. There's a lot of unknowns. I'm not going to lie. I did sprinkle the +500 submission on Iwu, but that's just because I think Ibu's chin is pretty good. So
there's no line. There's no line for takedowns, but they start the ladder at 3 takedowns at +200 for Iwu. So you're on to that because that means one takedown would have been one takedown would be approximately -150 if you're kind of backtracking on that, right? So they do expect him to go for takedowns. That correlates very well for fantasy. I'll tell you that much.
I think he's the better fantasy guy, but Ibu does have some round 1 appeal.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to the next one before we continue down that unknown trail. But we go to, I would say personally, another unknown because Jalen Turner is coming back into the UFC, baby. He retired or he checked out there for a bit. He was done. He says, fuck it. What am I going to do? Am I going to be a Walmart greeter? What am I going to do? Go do some hard labor? Nah, we're going back into the UFC. He's back, and he got a great opportunity against Edson Barbosa. He's near -410 favorite on DraftKings Sportsbook. Come back on Barbosa, a +320. When I talked about this scoring on this slate, there's going to be 135. No. Fuck it. there's going to be like 140-point score on this slate. If you go through Jalen Turner's scoring ability, he is firmly one of the better scoring guys in the entire UFC. And he doesn't necessarily have the grappling. He catches grapplers and puts them to sleep because he's so long. But how shot is Edson Barboza? This whole fight comes down to Barboza, because if he fights old style Barboza, the pace of this fight isn't going to be here. And I think it could be a trap for fantasy, and people might not want a lot of this. But I actually really like this fight. It's like, here you go. You're coming back into the UFC. We know how talented you are. Here's a veteran who's got a name.
Yeah, I mean, Barbosa's almost 40, and he's had a bunch of fights. He looked really bad in the last fight, that close fight. I mean, he was super hittable. And it honestly, it shouldn't have looked that bad, and it did. And I think everything's kind of catching up with him a little bit, all the wars and stuff. Now he is still tough, so you gotta still give Barboza that. Like, he's still a tough dude. He's 6,900 in DFS. And if you remember, before the close fight, I mean, he was fighting against some decent fighters. You got Murphy, who he lost to, Yusuf, and those were 5-round fights. So he was someone like, they were still giving these like solid, fight night style 5-round fights to Barboza. And Jalen Turner, I mean, the dude quit. The dude quit the UFC for a while. He retired, or whatever you want to call it. But he just stopped fighting for whatever reason. And I don't know, Mike, with him, maybe it was, all the losses. Maybe he just couldn't take.
He could set his bar too high. He's one of those types of guys.
He was good enough. Like, he was good enough. Look at who he fought. Like, he went from fighting like, Jamie Malarkey and Riddell to Gamrot, Hooker, Green, Moicano, Bahamundez. Those are all like, top tier style fighters. It's not good when you see a KO loss to Moicano. That's definitely not a good thing to see. But losing to decision to Dan Hooker, that's not a bad loss. I mean, losing to Gamrot is not really a bad loss. Turner is extremely talented, and Barboza is at this point a punching bag, a tough one at that. He's still tough to get out of there. So the question is, if Turner's head is in the right spot, coming back, can he stay away from the leg kicks? Is the one thing I worry about with Barboza. He's still got really good leg kicks. If he can stay away from those, he probably ends up finding a shot that hurts Barboza in this fight here and puts him out. But I just don't know how do you trust a dude that literally retired from the UFC? Everyone's saying don't trust Barboza. Don't trust Barboza. I mean, Barboza's not good anymore. Like, he's not what he used to be. He's super hittable. But man, he hasn't quit. Like, he hasn't quit.
He wears damage and he goes forward. It's not like
last time he got finished was in 2021 against Giga. So, since then he's fought a bunch of times, 5-round fights, gone to decision. Like, he's still toughing it out.
He's got a negative differential in the UFC now, by the way. 4.14 thrown, 4.16 absorbed. That's unfortunate because, like, I look at Edson as like a perennial gatekeeper, contender, fringe type of guy, and now he's got a differential. That doesn't bode well for him against Turner, who's always going to turn it up. If there's more tools for Turner to do something, the heart clearly goes to Edson. I don't know how you can, like, the heart and will to fight is there in his back pocket, and we've seen Turner just win fights until he doesn't. Another situation where I bet you the line for Edson 2 or 3 inside the distance is got to be juiced to the gills. Like, that number is going to be crazy, and that is a legit thing that could happen. But I'm not saying it's going to. Just, I think Turner, for scoring purposes, could play kicky punchy at distance, win a round, then maybe wear him down.
See, this is what I worry about. I think Jalen said it was mental. Not sure if that's better. That is 100% worse. That is 100. So what's telling me in the second round, if this dude sits on the stool, he just says, Mike, you know what? What am I doing here? What am I doing here right now? Like, I don't know, man. Yeah. Again, though, like, should he go out there and knock this dude out? He should. Like, he should. Barboza is past it at this point, but
at 6,900, he doesn't have to do a lot.
I'm gonna play some Barboza.
He's super low owned.
I'm gonna play some. I don't care.
It's very easy to go over his 10% owned. If you just bump it to 15 to 20, you're double the field at 20%. It's not hard to do that.
And you know, one thing too, at least I trust Barboza to make it a fight.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's it. Right, he's going to push the pace. He's going to go forward. Even if he slightly slows down, that pace in front of him is going to make for some scoring ability. It's just the other the other thing too is Jalen Turner is competing with Merab DVALISHVILI and Alejandro Pantoja in scoring, dude. Like all these 9K fighters are competing against the most elite scoring ever. So very difficult. The thing,
though, Jalen is good enough to compete with. Well, I don't know if anyone can compete with Merab when he wins. He wins like he scores 1 billion fantasy points. So that's like very unfair. But like the rest of them, I think is fair. Like if Jalen Turner outscored Mansour, you wouldn't be shocked. I don't think you'd be shocked if he outscored Pantoja.
No.
Because if Pantoja gets like an early second round win, that's probably only going to score you like 100.
Yeah.
95.
Also, a pick 6, if I had that under 6.5, that would be fight time. I think I would even take a little poke at that if it was plus money on pick 6, wouldn't you? Like that's the way he fights.
The more on fight time?
Yeah. There's not enough juice on the squeeze there.
Do you like it? I'll put it in for right now. I don't hate it.
It's up to you. And no, I'm saying if I still want more money, so I feel like it's a little bit of a poor choice, but
I'll put it in there for now, and we'll see as we get there. Look at what we got in the chat. Shout out Isaac Dolgarian.
Yeah, Isaac, we love you, buddy.
Barboza. He's got the eyes on Barboza. I don't know what that does. That mean does that mean you bet Barboza? Does that mean Barboza's about to tank?
Isaac,
what are we doing?
You should have told us about that fight that everybody on Twitter is going crazy, the Duncan and McKinney. Don't talk about that one. You know, that one's got the eyes all over it. Oh, it's something crazy is going to happen.
Rob's definitely the best DFS player, like the best DFS fighter of all time.
I was thinking of this. Can we rank this now since the conversation? Merab, Chimaev, Gregor Gillespie.
It's Merab.
Yeah.
It's Merab. And then everyone else.
Well, Chimaev is right there at 1B.
I mean, Merab's though done it like 1 billion times. Like Chimaev's got to do it a few more times to get near Merab. It's Merab.
It's not even multiple takedowns, dude. Too. It's for Chimaev.
Islam is great. Islam is great. Like Islam's like, I think we're talking DFS. Where Islam is the better fighter. Like we're putting Islam over Merab, or I am at least. But DFS is different. You know what I mean? Like in terms of DFS scoring, I mean, give me Merab all day. The guy shot 50 takedowns one time. Like what? Like who shoots 50 takedowns?
Yeah, and there's just certain fighters that are better molds for fantasy than they are betting or optics or anything when you're talking about other markets.
How many times do we say this guy's a good bet, but he's a bad DFS play and vice versa? You know, it's like, we say it all the time.
Exactly. They go hand in hand. And we talk about that. We go from one to another. That is never a fantasy play. That's a great pivot there. It's Marvin Vettori, man. He's never a fantasy play. Maybe he is now because he's going against Bruno Ferreira. He's a minus 125 favorite on DraftKings Sportsbook. Comeback on Ferreira, a plus 105. Yeah, I mean, Bruno Ferreira is that bull. Come forward. I got 7.5 minutes of equity. If I don't get that 7.5 minutes of equity, it probably falls off a cliff. And Marvin Vettori has never been really completely bull rushed, knocked out. I don't know the wrestling. He usually negates that. He doesn't score very well, but he's got the ability to score with Bruno in front of him. Because if Bruno is running into something stupid, he could get absolutely smoked himself. This line has stayed pretty firm, like minus 125 for Vettori, but it's one of my favorite molds. What's my rule? Better inside the distance line as the underdog. Bruno Ferreira is like plus 200, right? I'm taking a peek right now. It's like plus, it's significantly better than Vettori. And it's like, what are we doing here? It's like plus 200 compared to Vettori plus 400.
Marvin Vettori inside the distance plus 500.
It's wild. That's a wild
Bruno
number.
plus 180 on DraftKings. So.
Yeah. And it's like that equity is going to fall off a cliff for fantasy for Bruno if he doesn't achieve that finish. And we've never really seen that happen.
I will say, if you want like a sneaky bet here and you like Marvin Vettori, Bruno Ferreira to gas out in round 3 and Marvin Vettori round 3 finish is 18-1 on DraftKings.
Yes.
So
yes.
18-1 round 3 Marvin Vettori finish. If you want like a long shot flyer, and it's funny, I like Bruno in this fight, but I don't love how he looked on the scale. I mean, he didn't even try. I don't think to cut, right, Mike? After he didn't even try. But
the ownership didn't follow. So right now, let me tell you, 10% for Vettori versus 20% for Ferreira.
It makes sense though, but Vettori doesn't score well in 5-round fights. No one wants to click his name.
I know, but it is also right in this mid-range where it helps you with salary. I guess they just lacks that's pure ceiling that you need. That's it, right? And Ferreira is the clear side to play for fantasy.
Andy's at that price tag, Mike, that we don't love for someone like 8,200. So you got the guy who has more upside is the cheaper guy in Bruno for DFS, right? Marvin Vettori's a little more expensive. We got kind of another fight, I feel like this a little bit. Not as bad though, but I mean, at least like if you go through Marvin Vettori, like look at who he's been facing. He's been facing like elite guys in all these decisions here. I mean, I don't even need to run through the list. You know who they are, but guys got chins and are durable, good fighters, even his losses, he's not losing to bums. Like
he had top position against Brendan Allen.
Yeah. No,
he could have finished it.
Marvin Vettori is a good fighter with a blockhead who doesn't move at all, and his chin is unmatched to this point. Like, that's just who it is. And now he gets Bruno, who hasn't really faced, many great guys, and the better fighters that he has faced, he's lost to, honestly, except for maybe like 1 or 2. So, that's the one thing with Bruno, but we know how Bruno fights. He's gonna push that pace, but can he keep the pace? Does he slow down? How much does he slow down? Does he completely gas out? That's the question. And if he does gas out, I could see Marvin Vettori taking advantage of it late.
I love your call on the Marvin round 3. That best line, I use Fight Odds IO, is DraftKings Sportsbook at plus 1,800. The average odds out there at this moment is 1,500. You're getting 3 points of value on it. It's actually, at some books, it's getting steamed down to 1,100. So same type of line. I also like the opportunity if you get the 2 or 3. I don't know if they offer that. On DraftKings, they don't offer it. It's usually a 3-year decision. Marv's he's just durable. He's durable, and he's against a guy that just has.
I just put $100 on it. All right. I didn't want to forget. I didn't want to forget. Yeah, sometimes I'll say these long shot ones and then I'll forget. I was like, I can't forget. I gotta put a honey on it now so I don't forget.
Yeah, just grit your teeth, get hit a couple times. That's okay. His Ferreira is going to be a gas bag in the 3rd, so that's what you're looking for. Pick 6 wise, tight lines. I don't like it because if it does get to the 3rd round, which we're talking about, the significant strikes are not going to matter. The fight time isn't enough. We're getting in we want more on that.
Yeah, if it gets the decision, Vettori probably scores like shit, by the way. So
in a significant strike line at 50 is actually accurate because
yeah,
they do not like his striking. They do not rate it at all for UFC strike stats at all. So and obviously they juiced up the money line equity for the fantasy points. It's pretty accurate there. So I think we move on to the next fight where we end up seeing Faris Zaim versus Nazim Sadykhov. An interesting fight for the context of the slate here in the middle range. We have a minus 170 for Faris Zaim on DraftKings Sportsbook. You come back on Sadykhov is a plus 142. Give me the X's and O's. I'm going to toss it to you right away because I look at it, I shake my head, I look at it. I like underdogs in this middle range. But Zaim is a solid prospect, and I hate to say that, but he very much is a proven stick to the game plan type of guy.
Yeah, Sadykhov, I think is someone that is going to hit a lot of people's teams. We got a close, kind of money line type, and the way he fights, it's good for DFS. He's going to move forward. He even though it doesn't like show in all of his scores, a lot of these fights like they still have been action packed, in everything like that. And I think someone like Sadykhov is going to try and make him uncomfortable, because Zaim wants to kind of stick and move, keep it nice, not really ugly. He doesn't like when it's like a firefight as much. And I think Sadykhov is gonna kind of need to make it a little uglier, in my opinion, for him to get the win. And honestly, this is a fight where like normally I'm always on the Sadykhov side. I just have this feeling like when I watch Sadykhov fight, he's losing a lot of these fights until he finds the one shot. So what happens if he doesn't find the one shot? Like the Bomb Fiend fight, I rewatched that whole fight because I remember the doctor stoppage. It was a question mark kick that he like perfectly caught Bonfim trying to dip and caught him like right in the eye. It was awesome. But before that happened, he was getting hit a lot. Bonfim was winning the round. And I don't think it was a close round. He was losing that round pretty convincingly. Now, again, that is the way he fights, but I'm just saying, like, the Borshev draw doesn't look that good. You know what I mean? He did beat McKinney, but we all know how that goes when he gets to the second round. Nicholas
fraud check.
Yeah.
But the problem is this isn't a true fraud check because Zaim isn't going to knock his fucking block off.
It's not a fraud check because I don't think Sadykhov's a fraud. I just think that he's super skilled, but he also can get hit. He's also very hittable at times. And, Zaim is a very good striker. I don't know why Zaim in his last fight was just grappling with Davis. Like he was just accepting grappling exchanges. I don't know if you noticed that when you watched that fight, but like Mike Davis, all he could do was grapple, and Zaim was like entertaining it the whole fight.
Pick me, JSU, pick me.
Yes.
It's because they fucking painted the goddamn, they put up in the Saudis or whatever, put up the rooms for that event, and they painted Mike Davis's fucking room like less than 24 hours. It was paint fumes. He was happy to go to the ground. The guy was gassed. Did you not hear about that?
No. I'm saying, I heard about that. I'm saying I don't know why Ziam accepted it constantly. Like there were points in the fight where he would have a chance to break off and he would just try and go for his own double leg. And I'm like, why are you doing this? Like you hurt him. He's bleeding everywhere. Why are you now trying to get your own takedowns? I guess maybe he just thought Mike Davis was so gassed, like he could get on top of him and just lay down blows. But I was like, it's the only way Mike Davis can win is catching you on the ground. It's like the only way because he's clearly gassed, and you're just like, nope, let's keep doing it. And Mike Davis will like get his back, and I'm like, oh, here we go. Like
Mike Davis is an anomaly. The guy is super talented, but just like cannot put it together. Let's just focus on the pick six.
No, so by the way, I like Ziam though. I think Ziam is a good enough striker. I think he's precise enough. If he doesn't get caught, which he's pretty good about, staying safe, I feel like he doesn't get caught in like a firefight or anything, I think he wins this fight. And with how much Sadikov gets hit, I wouldn't be stunned if he found a finish.
I love the line for pick 6 because I always associate money line and inside the distance. Of course, Ziam isn't going to have a glorious inside the distance line to justify this pick, but over 66.5 fantasy points, Saidakov's going to be right there in front of him to make Ziam score. I know it looks on the face value, right? People are going to be like, oh, it might not be a good pick, but sometimes you're forced into scoring. And if Saidakov, like we both think, is a little bit fraudulent in some of his wins, he's been hurt, he's lost that. Evan Elder, you didn't even bring that fight up.
There were so many fights. I couldn't bring them all up. There were so many fights. It was
a cut stoppage. Somebody threw a wad of money in an envelope and said, here you go, cut stoppage, give him the win. I like that a lot. That's 66.5. And like you mentioned, right? Saidakov's going to be popular for fantasy on this. There's a few fucking traps, and I have Saidakov and Ferreira both earmarked on this slate for DFS because I want somebody on Run Pure Sports to win. And I think first clicks, like you said, are going to be like a Saidakov because you have the people with upside, right? Like he can win a fight early, but I mean, do you really want to go to him compared to Guskov, right? Like Guskov's chalk. It's about trying to get the exacta bet on this slate. And if I'm going to play somebody, I mean, I'm not playing Vettori. Ziam isn't the leverage I need, but it's a differentiating factor, right? Like if you play Ziam and he gets 95 points, it might not be that bad on this slate.
No, you might not.
You don't need it.
Fully ship with it. He might not be fully optimal, but he might be good enough for you to win and move on and stuff like that.
Single entry, lower dollar type of play.
On top of it too, though, like he's going to be low owned, so like if he's going to be like 10, 15% owned, which I think he's going to be around 10, 15%, I think he's a pretty good leverage play on the slate. So yeah.
Yeah, and in the $300, who cares about that? Like, the salary being over $8K there, it's no big deal. The salary on this slate, we know that there's plenty of ways to go. So yeah, we both liked it. Listen, we're pick 6 is coming together here, man. I like how we attack these. And again, minus 170 kind of correlates for like 85 fantasy points. I know that doesn't always align, but our factors are Saidakov is going to force in some scoring. We move on to the next fight that has question marks. I think somebody in chat earlier was talking about question marks. Don't have to touch a fight. I'll tell you, question marks don't have to touch a fight. Macy Barber back after her panic attack that caused the main event cancellation. Minus 205 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Killer Carini, a plus 170. What the fuck are you doing with this? I mean,
this is not a question. First of all, Carini Silva stinks. She's not good. She's
First round.
Not good. She lost to Dione Barbosa. That was a robbery. You want to watch a live robbery? Go watch that fight and tell me that Carini Silva won that fight.
Didn't she have her head down? Like when they went to the judges, I'm pretty sure she had her head down.
She won a round somehow from her back. I don't know how she won that round, but somehow she won that round. Seriously, it was a live robbery. We had Dione Barbosa at plus 200. She was such a good bet. I still cannot believe that I lost that bet and she lost that fight. That was a robbery. But either way, I knew then she wasn't that good. I watched in the Arujo fight. She has grappling, but man, like, I don't know, outside of that and like throwing this like long kick at space and stuff like that, like that's all she's really got. And Macy Barber, you said all the concerns and stuff about like health and everything like that. Man, did you see Macy Barber? She looked awesome. She looked like she was in great shape. Made me feel very comfortable about Macy Barber here in this spot. And I think she could dominate this fight. I think she could dominate it wherever she wants to, honestly. And I wouldn't be shocked. This is another fight, Mike, where I wouldn't be shocked if she could find like a late finish here against Carini. So, yeah, I mean, I'm on the Macy side. I think that Macy's another fighter. I think she's not going to get owned in DFS. I think she's sneaky in DFS. Another leverage point, but also inside the distance, plus 380. I bet it. I think Macy's got a chance. You said the round 2 and 3. I know DraftKings Sportsbook doesn't do the round 2 and 3, but if you're on a site that does round 2 and 3, I kind of like Macy Barber round 2 or 3 finish.
This is a girl who came into the UFC with huge aspirations. And I think she put a shit ton of pressure on herself. I want to be the youngest female champion, blah, 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 blah. Then she gets set back by Roxanne. I cannot contextualize how bad that is, but it's a vet test. And a fighter like her should learn from that. Of course, she got injured. She's got a lot of changes in her life. Hopefully, they're good changes. I guess she's into the woo-woo rock stuff now, the stones and the energy. Good for her. Do whatever the hell she wants to do. But she did look in great shape. She's got to be taken serious.
She looked unreal on the scale.
And it's not just the fakies, the marketability. It's the whole body of work there. She looks like she's taking it serious.
You could say it, Mike. You could say it's the full package.
It's the full package.
The full package from the top down.
She was missing something before, and she has it now. Okay.
Yeah.
Macy Barber is a fighter that you were buying low on. I wish the price was lower. I fucking wish it was like minus 125. I wish I had a good price on it because minus 200, it's still playable.
If Carini was if she looked better in that Barbosa fight and she beat Araujo, it probably would be like a pick'em right now. But the fact that she looked so bad against Ione Barbosa, she lost the fight before. Macy still, when she's healthy, right? Macy still has the, that's why, and it's warranted. I think plus 200 odds are warranted, honestly.
Macy revenge tour. I love that call about a little bit of a poke in fantasy. I don't think it's a guarantee. I think you know what you're signing up for, and the upside is 115 points. If you play her and she wins and gets top position, if either of these two fighters get top position, they could look like $1 million. Problem is, if Carini gets top position, she could gas out from top position. I guarantee Macy Barber is not gassing out if she gets top position and tries to finish this fight. Yeah, I really do like this one. Pick 6-wise, do we have anything? I can't imagine we have anything crazy. A shit ton of pick lines, though, which is great. The control time would be one. I really like the control time. Fuck.
For who? Macy or
Macy? Macy, even though it's a 0.9, I do like it. The other thing I've seen as a popular play, and this is just out there on Twitter sphere, is under 1.5 takedowns for Silva. That a lot of people
I was looking at that or the fantasy point line. Macy Barber's fantasy point line is better than Santos, who's 9-1 or whatever.
Why don't we take this little theme I'm running with? A minus 200 money line should average out to 92 points. If you're going off a statistical money line.
I'm sorry. I get it.
It's just
Barber wouldn't make me finish in a minute. That's why we like round 2 or 3, B-Nair.
Yeah, we got to fade something, right?
I'm calling bullshit too. You'd be out in a minute. I'm calling bullshit.
Very, very marketable. What do you think about the over 74.5? Because again, even a first, second round, you're covered by those two finishes.
I kind of like the over.
You're covered in a decision. If she doesn't score 74.5, she's no longer a prospect. If she scores under 74.5 in a decision against Killa Carini Silva, would you agree? Like, she's dead as a prospect.
Yeah, I think you're right, but
you like to take down more?
She does it. I think she does it. I think she scores more than 74.5. So I
agree.
Like over.
I'm saying absolutely we're all over because again, minus 200 should be. I look for value. I'm a value boy. Okay, fuck it. I'm a value boy. Minus 200 should be way closer to 92.5 fantasy points than not.
Yeah, and Karine Silva, I do think the 1.5 takedown line is interesting. Her takedowns are not very good. She likes to get to the body lock and stuff. Like, she doesn't have like the sick takedowns and stuff like that. That's one of her issues. Like, she needs to get to her grappling, and against higher level fighters, it's just going to get harder and harder for her to get there.
I'll point out one thing. She does go for those leg locks, and Macy has had surgeries on her knees and shit. So don't let her get to your legs. Don't drop back on a heel hook or leg lock. That might be an issue. That would be one of the outs for Karine to get a win here. But we're almost about halfway to the card here, man. We got plenty on Run Pure Sports. We got college football championship day. I imagine you and I can't play that in Massachusetts, but I imagine that's a huge thing for Run Pure Sports today. Tell me about it.
Yeah, college football smash. I mean, we've been crushing. Our guy Bruce he's one of the best at college football. Does the projections for us over at Run Pure Sports. He does all these slates too, not just the big Saturday slates. He's on top of every single slate.
He loves the matching.
Yeah, he literally does all of it. So Bruce is awesome. He's one of the best guys we got, period, at Run Pure Sports. He crushes college football. On top of it, we got guys like Big T and Third and Schlong, guys that play college football all throughout the year, crush at college football, and tons of other guys that, help out and do content. So yeah, if you're into college football, you like college football playoffs and all that stuff, we'll have content for all of it. College basketball is going on right now. Stevie Boynton and Gavin, they both have been crushing college basketball. Pick six, smashing the pick six for college basketball. If you're into the college sports, we definitely have you covered. We got great guys doing great work for the college sports here. So yeah,
great time to sign up. I mean, championship. I love bowl. The bowls are so fun. I always kind of lay out a parlay for bowls. So then hopefully by late New Year's, I'm able to be like, oh, I got a parlay live. I'm waiting on New Year's Day and it ends and I just need one leg. So it's fun stuff, man. And the other thing is playoff best ball is around the corner for NFL. I don't know if you're in the best ball streets, JC.
Already here, man. I'm in. I've already been drafting. I'm ready to roll.
I bet you there's tons of tools that you guys are going to be having for us to kind of take advantage of predictive.
Yeah, we were in there drafting. I was in there drafting yesterday. Drafted a few teams. So yeah, if you're into the playoff best ball stuff, I've been talking to a few people in our Discord about ways to attack and strategy and stuff.
We need best ball MMA. That was my pivot. I trapped you. We need it. We're never going to get it. The two sites that do it. But imagine people would first round pick. Some people are picking Conor McGregor. That's what I'm saying. I don't care. I want Donald Cerrone, even if he's retired. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, never a better time than now to get in on Run Pure Sports. Make sure you guys are liking the video, getting your comments in here for the end of the card. We're about halfway, but we've got a little bit of a betting gate here because we got Chris Duncan as a favorite now. He's minus 120 on DraftKings Sportsbook, a plus 100 for Terrence McKinney. Twitter's going nuts. Oh, something's going on with the betting line. Money's coming in on McKinney. Here's my simple fucking answer. I'm pulling a Dana White here. Is don't call the FBI. People saw Terrence McKinney at plus money, okay? I'm an arbitrage guy. If you can get plus money on McKinney and he comes out hot like a motherfucker like he always does, and he ends up being minus 500 after the first round, I can buy on fucking Chris Duncan at plus 300. People are looking for an arbitrage thing. There's nothing to see here. There's no betting conspiracy. Why is Twitter going nuts? I don't think you've ever seen me this hot, but
I don't know. I mean, could it just be that there's a little buyback on McKinney after Duncan? Duncan was the favorite, but why was he the favorite? I understand why this fight should be, somewhat close to a pick 'em. I didn't understand when Duncan was like a bigger favorite though. I think Terrence McKinney is probably the more skilled fighter. Now, does the skilled fighter always win? No. Could Chris Duncan dog out Terrence McKinney? we've seen Terrence McKinney get outdogged before. Yes, but this should be like a true pick 'em to me, Mike. So I'm with the line where it's at right now. It's kind of settled around like what, plus 100, plus 105, depending on where you're looking.
It's bounced,
right now.
and it's bounced about that much, and people are just going nuts. It's really too bad about our buddy Isaac in chat, right? He's the one who caused all this bullshit.
Yeah, he caused all the bullshit.
Maybe I fell for clickbait, right? Maybe a lot of these people are just fucking putting it up there to get people tilted. But I really honestly just think of Terrence McKinney as a commodity for betting, because if you're betting on him at plus money, he will become a favorite. It's a near lock. At some time in that fight, he'll become the favorite, and you can buy back on Chris. And so I agree with all those points. Now let's talk about the X's and O's. If you're not playing this fight, you're fucked. Like, I don't know how you fade this fight with any semblance of confidence. It's a Terrence McKinney fight. It's a 14-fight slate, so you don't need it. But the funny thing is, Terrence goes in on media day, right? What are you gonna do? What's your game plan, Terrence? And of course, it's a layup question. Somebody's gonna be like, all right, he's gonna say, I'm gonna go and kill. He goes, I'd rather just wrestle fuck him for 3 rounds. And,
Yeah,
he's sarcastically saying it because he just wants to get the paycheck and get the hell out of there. But Chris Duncan, isn't he the guy that got knocked the fuck out on the Contender Series with Charlie? Or no, he beat Charlie, right? That Charlie Campbell fight was the wild one. If you put Terrence McKinney in that type of spot, he's flip a coin. Either guy is going to sleep, and it's going to look like a fight like that more than it doesn't. So I love it for fantasy. I love the opportunity that we have, but I just don't know what side I want. Do you? I mean, you seems like you're a little bit towards Duncan. Am I right there?
No, I'm more towards the McKinney side, but I agree with you. I think this is a fight that you could lock. And just say, give me a bunch of both these guys and let me just take my chance here, because I see it being a good fight for DFS, no matter how it kind of shakes out here. I think, Terrence McKinney is always, when you watch him fight, like round 1, if you're rooting on Terrence McKinney, you're hoping for round 1, because when the fight gets past round 1, it's not good for Terrence McKinney. And one thing I will say about Chris Duncan, Chris Duncan is not the most skilled guy, but he's tough, man. He's tough. He is durable. I mean, he got subbed by Torres, but outside of that, like, he's pretty damn durable. And fights are, unless he's finishing them early, which was just that Oki fight, which is weird. Like, they're going past that first round here. And I'm sure Duncan's game plan is like, all right, withstand the first round, get this dude into the second round, drown him, third round, drown him, finish him. Like, I think that's probably, what he's thinking in his head. So, yeah, I mean, the question is, who are we betting? And who I was betting before all this stuff moved and everything like that, I was betting Terrence, because I was like, Duncan like minus 140. Like, I'm not doing that. I think it's like a coin flippy fight. So give me the dog. I do think an interesting way to get both sides of this fight is either fighter to win by submission at plus 120. If you're really unsure and you don't want to pick a side, I do think the either fighter to win by submission is an interesting way to go about this fight here.
Well, how many times has McKinney gassed and given his back? This fight, honestly, when you break
Chris Duncan looks for submissions constantly and jumps for submissions constantly.
It almost looks
so good.
Is it the Saidikov fight against McKinney? It almost looks like that fight more than it doesn't, right? Like, Saidikov probably has a tough first round, then he just starts slowing down, takes it back.
What's Duncan to win in round 2? I'm just wondering, what's the difference in the...
I got you. Round 2, just not even by way. It's Duncan round 2. Best price, DraftKings Sportsbook. You unveiled it. I'm on Fight Odds right now. Plus 850. The average odds out in the sportsbook are plus 526.
Yeah, that's a really good price for Chris. If you're on the Chris Duncan side, that's a good price right there. Round 2. Just take the round 2. Don't take like by TKO or by submission because you don't want to get screwed. Just take the round 2 odds, and you get both factors. And round 3 is 20-1, which is interesting because we all know Terrence McKinney is going to gas if this thing goes past a round and a half.
You're cooking up an insane round robin. See,
I know. I gotta slow my roll a little bit.
Plus 1,800 and a plus 850. Imagine if you sniffed both of those to win, and potentially both of them. I love that call.
Yeah, who was it? It was Vettori.
Vettori third.
God, I wish I could do round 2 or 3 for Vettori and Macy Barber.
There's other places you can, but regardless, on pick 6 market, don't fall for these. So I'm trying not to fall into traps. Remember I said for that shithole heavyweight fight that started the fight night a few weeks ago, that was like, it's going to be minus 200. This guy's going to finish. It was Denzel something. And
that guy.
The opponent was against the bum.
That was a bad call.
The opponent got caught.
Him too.
The opponent got caught. No, it's not a bad call. No.
I'm not letting myself get out. That dude stared in his eyes for 3 rounds. And
who he's fighting.
What was worse was he was like talking to him in that second and third round. Remember, like he was like talking to him, and I'm just like, will you fight? Like, what are we doing talking to each other? Like, you gotta fight.
So what I was gonna say, and I didn't want to, bring up a bad subject.
Sorry, you brought up a sore subject.
We got to learn from our decision making on pick 6. I said on that one that underdog 10.5 strikes, or it was 9.5 strikes, and you talked me out of it. You said no, and I said take the over because 9.5 strikes. It's 2 heavyweight guys. We thought what Denzel would go in for a takedown right away. He fucking had 40 strikes. So sometimes these numbers are just not accurate to things, right? So I'm trying to learn, and I'm looking at these 2 significant strike numbers, and I'm like, I don't want a piece of them. That was my storytelling there, right? It's just like,
it's a good story.
Yeah, and guess what? Denzel's facing Josh Hoggett next, just to let you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they said
good. I hope Josh Hoggett pounds that dude.
Yep, and they cut the other dude that came into the UFC there. I don't think you need to touch pick 6. It's a wild market here. They're very tight. There's no unders. Nothing to have here. So let's move on. I see you on your phone cooking up some round robin. You're like, how do I get Macy 2 or 3? How do I get her?
I just bet Macy 2 and Duncan 2.
How to cover Macy 2? Make a same game parlay Macy and then go into under on the time, and you can
you're you see this dude is sharp right here. That's how you
over.
Do it.
So you go over around, and then you can cover those 2 things.
That's how you do it.
Sharp. While you're cooking up the big old numbers.
That's why I talk with him, so I can get the sharp way I want to bet something right there.
I got you, man. No worries. Let's talk about an important. When I talk about outside of the 2 5-round fights on this slate, this is the fight to have. We just talked about Terrence McKinney and Duncan. Grant Dawson versus Manuel Torres is an electric fight. Minus 250 on DraftKings Sportsbook for Dawson. Manuel Torres, shockingly, a plus 205 underdog. Striker versus grappler. What's going to happen? We've had a guy that got knocked out by a fucking jab one time in Dawson in a main event spot, in a highlight spot for him to shine. And he is an elite grappler that can put up 130 points over 3 rounds or early get you out of there. Manuel Torres, man. I talk about elite potential leverage on this slate in Ibu. How is Manuel Torres not one of the best plays on the entire slate? When he wins, his win condition is get this guy out of here early. He's got the length, he's got the striking. Stop the takedowns. Just keep distance, man. Don't you dare. If Dawson gets a limb, he's going down. He's going to get controlled, and he's probably going to get submitted. That's why this is such a great fight for fantasy. I love the volume out of Torres. I see you highlighting how do you bet a round robin. I think we need to fucking say that at the end because we are cooking up an amazing round robin.
How do you bet a round robin though? You just
it's like the third split down. Singles, parlay.
So like on DraftKings, like pick the fights or the props or whatever you want a round robin, And then when you go to like your bet slip, pretty much after you pick your fights and you go to your bet slip, at the top where it says bet slip, right under it says single and it says round robin. You click the round robin and it'll give you like your options, 2-way, 3-way, 4-way, whatever, all the way down. So it's really easy on DraftKings to do.
Absolutely. And you can do it for up to like 10 cents too. So if you want to go fucking bonkers crazy, you could make like a college football like one. You could do prop markets, exacts.
Sometimes he knows how. He knows how. Okay, you worded it wrong. He probably meant what are we round robin?
What? Oh yeah. I feel like we'll just have to hit that. Let's make them wait. You know, you got to watch the whole show. We'll talk about our long shots in a minute. Now you can rewind it a little.
I mean, I've already dropped like 3 of them.
I know, that's what I'm saying. And it really only takes about 2 of them to hit at those numbers to pay off the whole entire round robin. But back to Grant Dawson and Manuel Torres, man. We have Grant Dawson going to be a popular favorite. He's only about 30%. I was surprised by that. He's not up to the Pantoja or DVALISHVILI. I feel like on any other slate, Grant Dawson would be pushing 40%. Would you agree with that? Like, he's one of those guys that people like to get behind. But, man, Manuel Torres, 20%. If Ebel or Manuel Torres win, there's your cog to unlocking the whole entire slate. Either of those 2 guys, I would make a rule because the leverage is going to be huge. I like Grant Dawson. I like him as a person. I like him as a play. I like him in that he goes risk adverse and tries to grab a limb and get you down quick. But does he have a chin? Has it been tested? I don't think his chin's been tested.
So Grant Dawson's chin, it's been checked. We know it's not that great
since King.
Yeah, it's still not that great probably. And Torres does have the power, and he does have good grappling too. Torres does. The question is though, and I think the best way to kind of put this fight in perspective is maybe the Pat Sabatini Chepe fight. It's like Grant Dawson's got the control. Does he get checked or does he get the takedowns? Does he get the control? Because he's pretty relentless with the wrestling. I think that's his path. I wouldn't be shocked if Manuel Torres was jumping for some sneaky submissions, or he's got grappling. So like, I think Dawson's probably good enough to stay safe on the ground. What's interesting though, I think from like a betting perspective, it looks like people like this fight to finish, and it's probably more due to the way Manuel Torres fights. It's kind of a little kill or be killed in that way, and that's why you like it for DFS. That's why this fight is a good fight for DFS, because if Torres wins, it's probably in spectacular fashion. It's probably finding a finish. I don't think Torres is winning a decision, right, Mike? We can all agree there.
Well, and it would be like you just said, Chepe, right? Remember, Chepe caught him at the end of 1 round, so he kind of caught him after 4.5 minutes. He fucking knocked him down. So it's going to be something like that. But
either way, though, like Grant Dawson, he's definitely someone who I think from an interesting bet side, like Grant Dawson's decision is plus 450. It's like he's already been checked once by Bobby Green. He definitely knows this dude, Manuel Torres, is dangerous. I wouldn't be shocked if he went in there and he was just like, okay, if I can't find the finish, I'm just going to make sure I control this guy, stay safe, get my win, right, and move on, because this dude is definitely dangerous. So I wouldn't be shocked if this fight went longer, as long as, Dawson's not getting checked early. And I think if that happens, Grant Dawson's got a good DFS game to score a lot of points for DFS. God,
yeah. And I talk about the ownership on any other slate. I like buying low on guys. Grant Dawson only 30%. He really would be 45 to 50% on any other slate. He's like minus 120 inside the distance line at this stage. It just correlates very well with a high score on almost any fight. But when it's a striker that potentially can't stop the takedowns, it's just an absolute massive ceiling. And I talk about leverage. Yes, there's a couple of these fights that are exactly the same when it's like, if the underdog wins, they have direct path to killing for leverage.
It does seem like, though, that outside of the main, if I just take the main event fights out, Mike, for a second,
Yep.
the two fights we're talking about now and the one we just talked about
And
seem
then
like
Ibu is right behind there. Like those,
Yeah.
these two that were like Boom Boom, McKinney, Duncan, Dawson, Torres, those are A, and right behind it is like, I don't even want to say B. I would say like A3.
Yeah. But these are the two fights I think you're going to want to be very over on, to be heavily exposed.
It's mix matching, right? It's trying to get the combination of these guys that get you to the Pantoja or Marab. Because
I mean, I could see locking these two fights, to be honest with you. That's how good of fights I think they are.
Yeah, I don't hate that either, honestly. And mid-range is where we like to be. I think even more so on this slate, right? Like I don't know if you need to take where's the point of no return? Is it Ibu, Torres? Is it Naimov down? Like that's the point of no return, right? Naimov, Cejudo, Barbosa. That's the point of what are we signing up for? Unless you really think Jan is.
I mean, and that's a bad range. Like that's a
yeah.
bad range. Like I don't like Cejudo. I don't like most of those. But again, they're gonna make your lineups different. So like that's why I'm gonna take some shots on Barbosa, even though I think he's clearly washed at this point.
I like pivoting. You said clearly washed. Is Jan Blachowicz washed? Is it potentially? Who knows? Jan Blachowicz, a -110 versus the -110. We're flipping a coin with Bogdan Guskov. What a cool look on media day. The hitman, did you see that with the tie? Came in full. He knows what he's got to do. He's got to take him out. I'm a little worried. What the fuck happens if he doesn't take him out? Can Jan Blachowicz old man his ass? Body lock, takedown. Another commodity in Jan Blachowicz that's like, I don't think he scores well. You know, he just doesn't do a lot. It's usually correlated to a finish or imposing his will. Against Guskov, going to be younger, faster. Where's the durability? What are we dealing with here? Is it just as simple as if Jan gets caught early, and then if not, he can impose his will late? And do you think there's a finish by Jan if Guskov does, you know, kind of blow his load here?
Well, first of all, this is a pretty nice little step up for Guskov, who I do think is a good fighter. But you know, at the same time, Jan Blachowicz is very good, and he's fought, you know, his last couple fights. Champion, Carlos Olberg, like, you know, this is a massive step down for him probably against Bogdan. The question is just, you know, what Jan are we getting? Is he to the point where he's not the same guy that he once was? And it's possible that he is that way. And I feel like this line has been moving more towards Bogdan recently, I think, or it's a pick 'em. I can't remember where it's at right now. I think it's a pick 'em, but
it's a pick 'em. I've got the odds up as well. The open
is it been moving towards Bogdan or Jan? I can't remember.
It has been on DraftKings. It absolutely has been from +120 down to a -110. The opener, just so you know, was +130. So for Guskov, so it has been nothing but money on Guskov.
Yeah, so I mean that does worry me a little bit. Seems like a lot of people are going with maybe the Jan is not the same Jan. I still think though Jan is good enough to kind of stay away from the big shot and maybe find a way to win this fight. The problem is I think if it's a decision, Guskov could have bigger moments in the fight if this fight went to decision. So that's kind of my issue with it a little bit.
Judges love him though. I mean, they love Blachowicz. Yeah. They just, for some reason, it's the Polish power or something, you know. And I agree with you. Bigger moments for Guskov, even if they're just kind of huffing and puffing, right?
It stinks too because Guskov's been a guy I've been betting on like every single fight. He besides the Ozdemir fight, and every single fight he's done well for me. So I don't like betting against him. I've done really well betting on him. I just feel like the step up, I got to see it with the step up. I'm probably going to bet Jan here by decision and just see it. But for DFS, I think Guskof's the better DFS play.
Oh, 1,000% he's the better one because he's going to push a pace. Jan just kind of sits there. It's going to be forced on Guskov pushing a pace to make Jan score. I actually wouldn't be surprised if Jan gets a second or third round win, but I don't think it's going to be enough for fantasy either, honestly. At that rate, he's scoring 60 points, 65 points, and you're like, what the fuck? Probably 70 because of what I just said.
And he's still got to outscore like those guys we were just kind of talking about, even though they're not the exact same price. Chris Duncan's 8,600, Grant Dawson's 8,900, Faraz Ziam's 8,300, Macy Barber's 8,700, Vittori 80. He's got to outscore that range, or at least most of that range. Maybe like one or two, like two of them, but like he's got to outscore, I think, most of those guys.
Absolutely. Pick 6. They don't want the heat. They don't want the under 10 and 45 seconds, do they? They don't want us to bet against Jan.
They're saying take the under on fantasy points. No, leave it.
I'd like to. I mean, that's the way to cover a Guskov, and you get the out if it's a typical Jan fight.
If it's a typical Jan fight, yeah.
I like it. I am big on Guskov, not big as I'm confident, like all in, but it sounds like you and I have uncovered we both really like Guskov in this spot. I like Guskov in this spot before the movement as well, just to be clear. I thought he was going to be faster. He has a kickboxing advantage if he goes to a decision.
Significant strike line for Jan seems low.
Please let's not fall for that again, because it's trappy. Because if there's the finish, not to mention the decision.
I'll put the less than on yeah.
Let me tell you the reason to not touch the significant strike. Move fighter.
Yeah. All right.
I think he's back tonight. By the way, Herzog I think is back on this card. Hopefully Herzog isn't on this particular fight where we see Peyton Talbot versus Henry Cejudo. R word. It's the R word. Retirement. Henry Cejudo. Again, I don't look into this. Get the fuck out of here. He's retired before. He's been checked out for a while. Don't give me this shit about him retiring and all this. The UFC knows what they're doing. They're saying, here's our golden boy, Frankie Ocean's baby, Peyton Talbot. You got an opportunity. You're faster. You got the hands to put Cejudo away. I think it was even before the retirement. He could have put Cejudo away. But stylistically, let's break it down, man. Peyton Talbot's been getting taken down against an Olympic wrestler. I firmly believe if Henry Cejudo comes out with a wrestling game plan, he will get finished in the second or third round. It's as simple as I just don't think he's got that tank in him, that dog on the bone. He's got a path to victory. And I wish I could play him in fantasy. I don't have the balls to do it, man. He's going to be popular for an underdog down here at 17 to say 22.5%. I just think he gets finished. I think Talbot's just the clear prospect here that's moving up the chain. It's a guy that was finishing like a minus 500 line, closing line, and now you're getting him at like minus 200. Money has been coming in on him. Talbot can shine, and he's a pivot off of some of these big range guys, dude. He's going to be super low owned compared to some of these upper echelons. I mean, single digit in 9K. Problem is you need an exact outcome, right? That's why you don't really want them.
Yeah, I don't know about the finish here. I don't know if Henry Cejudo comes out with an early heavy wrestling game plan. I don't know if his cardio will allow it. It probably is a bad idea if he does. And honestly, like Cejudo's striking is not bad. Like Cejudo is, first of all, he's fighting against elite competition on top of it. Yeah, there's a big size difference, obviously, but Henry's always small in the cage and stuff like that. And Peyton Talbot, let's stop making it seem like Peyton Talbot is running through everyone he's faced. Like he's not. So do I think he wins this fight? Probably. But I think it's going to be a decision. Cejudo's a tough dude. I don't think Peyton Talbot is just putting him out. Could be wrong, but that's another thing. Like, I'm going to have to see. Like, I've watched Cejudo in there with some elite dudes and be durable, even in losses, and stuff like that. I think he can be durable here. I think at the least, like, he can make Talbot work a little in the wrestling and do just enough to, change it up a little bit when he wants to. But yeah, I think Talbot wins a decision here. I think I wouldn't be shocked if it was like a split decision either. The line feels wide, but
the Olympic gold holds a little merit.
Cejudo, so yeah.
Judges tend to like Cejudo a bit. What was the fight when he came back against
Sterling?
He won some rounds, and I'm like, why are the judges? They're like, oh, Olympic gold. Let's give him a couple rounds.
It's funny though. Even when you think maybe he won a round, it still doesn't feel like he won the round.
Yeah,
we're all just like, oh, it's Cejudo. Like I can't bet Cejudo.
Cejudo's like, Peyton, take the cringe badge. I'm passing the cringe badge on to you. And Peyton's like, get the fuck out of here. I don't want that.
He did just get wrestle fucked by Harney Barcelos. So, like, yeah, Cejudo can definitely get takedowns. I just don't think Cejudo's going to wrestle fuck him like that, because I don't think Cejudo has the gas tank, and I think he knows this. Because one thing about Henry Cejudo, he's a very smart, strategic fighter, right? Stays safe. He knows what his limits. He knows his game plan. He's gonna follow a game plan, or try to at least. Doesn't always work, but I don't know if he's gonna have the ability to just rinse and repeat takedowns for 3
look
rounds.
at the takedown line is 2.5. DraftKings Sportsbook offering you on their site right now under 2.5 is -200. So they're thinking these takedowns are gonna get stuffed. It's just going to be a fight that takes place at distance. Yeah, I wish I could take the under. Honestly, I'd take the under Henry strikes as well, because here's the thing. Peyton's got that distance. If he wants to play the distance game, Cejudo is not landing on it.
They're not offering the under, so you can't.
I know, but that's why the sharps, they don't want this heat. I wish I could take the Talbot over. But like that's trappy. That speaks 55
I don't like this fight
and you
for
start
DFS.
crying.
I'm out on this fight for DFS.
Yeah, and DFS wise, like I said, I wish I could take a shot or two on Cejudo. I just can't at this stage. Like for DFS, I like that people are getting sucked into the ownership. Like I said, 20% owned Cejudo. It's a trap. I don't want a piece of it. We move on to a fight that potentially might have some love in the middle range again. Tatsuro Taira -130 on DraftKings Sportsbook against the Brandon Moreno +110 underdog. When's the last time we see Moreno be an underdog? I feel like it's been quite a while. Can he stop the takedowns? This is as simple as Moreno outstrikes him. Tatsuro goes for the wrestling, because I think it could be interesting. Moreno scrambles, man. He doesn't settle, right? So
this line is saying, though, Tatsuro is live to get takedowns and control.
Oh, 100%. If not, get him out of there, because
I don't know about that, Brandon.
No. But I think it's caked in to the betting line to be -130.
Yeah, because maybe on the ground, but man, Moreno's tough. Like he's not a dude who's just getting finished.
The public
losing it to the top guys. So
yeah, it's a great fight. Let's be honest. It's an amazing fight for fantasy.
And Moreno's used to fighting in 5-round fights too. That's another thing, which I think hurts this fight even more, because does he come out with more urgency? If he does, could that lead to him getting taken down if he's like too aggressive, if he's over aggressive? So he's got to be like really careful in that standpoint. I do think he has the edge on the feet, but
range of outcomes in this particular fight, I think there's, when we talked about all these other fights, right? Like a dozen fights, some range of outcomes we knew could happen. I think it's wide on this. I honestly think I wouldn't be surprised if Moreno got a finish. I wouldn't be surprised if Taira got a decision. Like it's a very competitive fight, which means I think I have interest because of the wide range of outcomes. And I think both have name value. You're going to have the favorite as a popular pick, but Moreno, people love this guy, man.
Yeah, I mean, I get it too. Moreno's he's a good fighter. He's a popular fighter. This fight to me has like split written all over it, though. I think this is like a split fight.
Do you
I
agree
could
with the
see,
range
like
of
you said,
outcomes?
so many things could happen in the
But isn't
range.
that good for compared to
I
the
just
ownership? I'm looking
I
at
just don't know if what you're gonna want for DFS is gonna get you that. I don't know if those are the outcomes you're gonna be getting.
and the thing about it is single digit ownership. I'm looking at like 8 to 10% for Tyra and just slightly over that for Moreno, say 13% for Moreno, which makes me have interest because of the ownership and because of the stuff, the range of outcomes being where they are. Look, we talked about this range. Sadyakov, Guskov, people are going to be drawn into the Sadyakov or Ferreira, right? Like, I don't mind taking a couple shots where people aren't going to want to go here. And Tyra has more ability to grow, right? Like, he came in raw, and he still is raw in the regards of he's just strictly a grappler, right? He doesn't have the best striking in the world.
I mean, I think it's improving.
It is definitely is improving.
For a pick, say I agree. I think Tyra's if you want to play this fight in DFS, I think he's the play in DFS. I think he's got more of the upside here. If you're looking at pick six, maybe the less than on significant strikes, Tyra doesn't throw a ton. And when he's on the ground, it's all control, submissions. It's not like ground and pounding the shit out of you, you know?
Control. He's not looking for help. He's not trying to fucking put your head through the canvas. He's just strictly trying to get that submission. That's a great call with the under on the significant strikes, honestly. Because even you got the call to an early finish too, right? Even a second round finish.
Yeah.
So Tyra under on significant strikes. I like it. We're gonna move on to the first of 2 5-round fights here. Alexandre Pantoja versus Josh Van. Pantoja the champ minus 225. Van a plus 185. Simple as takedowns versus striking and volume striking. Teeing it right up for you, buddy. Here's the softball down the middle.
I mean, it couldn't be more. This is how you break down a Pantoja fight, though. It's like we know exactly what Pantoja wants to do. He said it. We all know what he wants to do. He wants to take this dude down because he knows in his world nobody can compete with him on the ground. Like he's the guy. He's gonna get you down. He's gonna take your back, and he's gonna look for the submission, and he's gonna probably find it. And Joshua Van knows that. It's no secret. Everyone who fights Pantoja knows exactly what he's going to do. He's going to move forward. He's going to throw bombs, and he's going to look to get you down, drag you down, and then, find a finish from there. And it's funny, like I feel like in all of his fights, people have made cases, like in all of his fight, give me the plus 200 underdog. Give me the plus 185. Like all these guys, Kai Asakura, Urseg, Kai Kara France, Roy. People tried to make the case, and it's like every single time they're wrong. The Steve Urseg fight was close, but you still lost it. Like I don't know. I feel like it's probably a similar thing where Pantoja, he probably does what he does. Could Joshua Van withstand the first few rounds and then volume him up in the fourth or fifth? Yeah, maybe he could. I definitely think he's going to try that because he knows that the longer the fight goes, the more Pantoja does slow down. So I bet you his, idea of strategy in this fight is probably like just touch him up, try and stay on the feet as much as possible early, and just touch. Don't get overconfident and start like trying to, get over aggressive to where you get caught in a takedown. And then later in the fight, he'll slow down. The takedowns will be maybe less effective, and you'll be able to catch him with those combos and maybe put him down, get him out. So it does feel like Pantoja early, Van maybe later, but Pantoja just has this way about him. Even when he's tired, he's still like in the fight. You know what I mean? Like some guys, when they get tired, it's just like, okay, it's like over. It's never over with Pantoja. He's just always in the fight, even when he's tired.
I always felt like he's got like that Nicholas Dalby type of, Dalby's got that weird mechanism, like he does that weird breathing thing. And we saw that a few weeks ago. And he just, it's almost like he's got the same one, but not as boisterous for Pantoja. He continues that breathing throughout the fight. It makes him look like he's a little bit tired, right? Of course he's tired going hard for 20 minutes.
Well, he trusts his chin too. He trusts his chin. He moves forward. He throws heavy. He's unafraid of getting taken down, obviously, because he's so good on the ground. Right? Nobody's going for takedowns, or no one wants to like go into his world on the ground. So he can just move forward without worry. Like he doesn't have to worry about that. So that's one thing that he doesn't have to think about. And so it's just like, okay, I'm going to throw heavy and I'm going to wait and I'm going to patiently, make him make a mistake and make everyone make a mistake. And they always do. And he always finds a way onto the back. And then it's just,
so I look at this. They're rushing Josh Van up. They needed another well, actually, you know what? They didn't necessarily need another 5-round fight on this particular one, but I think they wanted to end the UFC deal with ESPN with like, all right, let's get doing it the right way, right? That's good for business. It keeps people happy. Josh Van got rushed to this spot. He came out of nowhere. If you were looking at a futures ticket like I always like to do, I honestly looked at Josh Van. I swear to God, hand on a Bible, I'm the futures guy, and said to myself, Josh Van is a future champion. Didn't fucking think it would be this quick. And honestly, because think about it. He fought so much this year. I think they're giving him Pantoja to kind of be like, all right, Pantoja can get another win. I honestly think the A side is Pantoja. I don't think the A side is Josh Van. Do you? Like, what does the UFC want? They want to bring the UFC back to Brazil. Pantoja has more upside there.
Yeah, what else does the UFC
Myanmar?
want? They want wars. Man.
Yeah.
Josh Van will give you a war, right? Like they want someone who's gonna, have the ability to, have the striking ability to maybe match Pantoja's elite ground game and stuff like that. And they're just trying to find guys that, honestly can probably put this dude out. Like they're just like somebody like that, Pantoja just keeps winning and keeps dominating. It's like somebody go in there and they don't have a lot of guys. They tried, what's the dude's name? They brought him right over to the UFC and they're like
Asakura.
And they're like, here's Pantoja. And I'm just like, dude, he's going to sub this dude in like the first or second round easily. And of course, it's exactly what happened. It's just.
When we break down 2026, we're going to do a show for futures. This is the division where you take your whole list of people and you start throwing darts. You're going to see me want to throw a lot of darts at this division.
So here's the question for DFS. If Pantoja does get a second round finish, drags him to the ground, first round, controls him for a round, second round, gets him down again, maybe he gets up and then he gets one more takedown. So he gets like 3 takedowns and then he finds a sub. How well does that score? Because that's kind of what he did in the Kai Car France, in the Kai Asakura fight, and he scored 95 to 103 in those fights.
In those types of slates where there was 12 fights, absolutely fine. 14 fights, it's a little bit more difficult. I do think out of clearly the 2 favorites, this is the one that you can fade with like a little bit of confidence, because if it gets stretched out, maybe it's competitive on the feet a little bit.
I feel like the decision, isn't that where you could potentially get the real Pantoja upside? Where he's getting like 6 to 10 takedowns. You know what I mean? Like
rinse,
that's
repeat.
where you get like the
Van
real
gets back up. He wrenches. It's the problem.
Dude, Van is not gonna settle. Like
no.
He is not. So that's the thing though that worries me about these guys that don't settle is when you don't settle, you give opportunities to give your back. You give opportunities for someone like Pantoja.
takes one.
He's gonna jump your back. Like he's literally gonna. Like you can't do that. You can do that against lower level fighters, lower skill fighters. You can't do that against someone as skilled as Pantoja. That does worry me a little bit. Does Josh Van panic if he's flat on his back, early, or is he just calm enough and say like, all right, like I'll lose this one, I'll regain it in round 2, I got to stuff one, and then go from there? Or does he panic and just like, I got to get up? And when guys do that, that's when they lose.
Yeah, I like your take. It's like I want 5 rounds of action out of these guys. Flyweight division, both these main event.
What do you think about this? Could they both be optimal?
Okay, I was working my way there. I was a little slow on the uptick there. I do think there's a world out of either of the two that this one makes sense. But can Pantoja keep up on the feet? I guess. The problem is they're going to chip into each other's scoring.
Yeah,
whereas
that's the issue.
Whereas like Peter Yan versus DVALISHVILI, I might as well just bring that up now. 2 things there. One, he scored 50 points, like 55 points, Yan, in that loss. He apparently had a bum shoulder, bum arm going into that. I'll talk about that in a second because we're going to go to the main event. But
I think that's the way better fight to stack. You think that this fight's better than that fight?
No. That's what I was saying. He had 55 points and quote unquote bum shoulder. That's where I was working towards. Is saying I'd rather stack that main event because 6,700 it doesn't really matter. They're going to average out to the same price. I just think that they chip into each other's scoring on this particular Pantoja and Van. So
on top of it, what I was saying about making mistakes when you're trying to get back up, the difference in level between Merab in terms of like how dangerous it is of him taking your back or him like doing stuff is totally different than Pantoja. So like Merab could easily get like 10 takedowns, but it's just like Peter Yan popping back up.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Angela's right.
There's not a lot of time spent on his back. Like I think if Josh Van gets taken down, I think unless he's dumb and tries to make a mistake, he's going to spend time on his back, which is going to kill scoring for Van.
Yeah, Angela's completely right. It was 40.7 in the loss. I don't know why I said 55, but that's with a bum shoulder, apparently. And I believe that. Why is one of the best prospects in best fighters in the world going to lie about something like that? There's nothing to gain. So if he's at 100% health here, there's more upside for stacking that fight. And there definitely will be a weird build for the winner. And we will kind of circle back to that after we talk about said main event. Pick 6 here.
Do we have Pantoja less than 109.5 before we move on, or are you staying away?
You and I just said that the out is potentially a dominant 5-round decision. I can't think we can't.
Well, no, that. Yeah, I said that I'd prefer it for DFS because I think that's how he smashes in DFS.
And it's a realm of possibility. How many times?
It's a realm of possibility, but there's also a high possibility that second round submission is not.
I think it's a bad play. I think it's bad. That is scary.
All right,
you're playing with fire. I know you like to target. So what do I like to target? I like the value guy. So if I'm seeing a minus 200 at 66 points, I want.
Yeah, it's not a value. I agree.
You in particular love targeting these high fantasy points and going with the under because you still have to achieve those points. So we're both just take different strategies, which is absolutely fine. And we both can be winners doing it. And you know who's going to be a winner is somebody that might have the balls to fade Merab DVALISHVILI. That might be a winner. Haha. But we have Merab as a minus 410 favorite on DraftKings Sportsbook versus the Peter Yan plus 320. The rematch that, I think the UFC wants challengers for DVALISHVILI. Over 8.5 is getting circled right now multiple times. Where's the under? Is that what you're saying?
Is that the wildest? Over 8.5 takedowns. That's insane.
Sportsbooks are actually taking action, offshore on that over under.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's getting smashed to the under because that's a crazy line. But
I mean, that's a
Merab,
crazy line.
what is there to break down here besides Peter Yan has time to develop? He hasn't been extremely as active as DVALISHVILI has. Merab specifically called out Peter Yan here for this fight at the end of the year. How do you not just instantly click Merab at any price tag, let alone not even 9,800? He's 9,500 on this slate. Expected to be 60% owned. My projections have him for 115 baseline points. Like, how do you not click his name? I think you make your decision as simple as this. You pick Merab or you pick Yan, right? That's the decision point.
Yeah,
you can't fade the fight.
I don't think you can fade this. Yeah, I don't think you can fade this fight. I don't.
You pay for rake if you do.
Yeah, I'm not fading this fight. This is the better of the two main fights, I think. If you were like, I'm only playing one, right, Mike, and I'm going to fade the, let's just say you just said to yourself, I'm not playing both, because that will be different, right? That will be unique. So if you're like, which one do I fade? It would be the Van Pantoja fight probably over the Merab fight, because this fight, I mean, like, Merab's ceiling is through the roof. And if Peter Yan wins, he's going to have 5 rounds to, strike. And I do think Yan is going to come in more aggressive than the last fight. Merab even said, he's like, I expect him to come in way more aggressive in this fight. And yeah, Yan was dealing with an arm issue, whatever. He had one good arm, whatever. And he did stuff a ton of takedowns. So to give Peter Yan credit, like, I think he's probably one of those guys, because he just has this weird style about him. His game is just so different, that he does have a chance here. If he can stuff those takedowns and also add to his pressure, up the pressure, and the volume from last time out, which he's going to have, because getting Merab out of there is not easy. So it's going to probably be a decision fight. So he's going to need more volume. And, I do think, though, the line is just insanely wide. Like, I haven't bet against Merab in a few fights now. He's won for me every time. And we always try and make these cases. Or I feel like there's always someone like trying to make the case for, like, I just feel like plus 330 or whatever is wild to me for Peter Yan, who I think he's got one of the best chances with his style to stopping Merab.
Do you know the first fight?
I don't know who's going to stop him, because I do not think it's Umar.
Do you know what the odds were in the first fight for Merab and Peter?
I know it wasn't this. What was it?
So it opened plus 140 Merab. It closed plus 210 Merab. So money was towards Peter.
That was kind of before, though. That was kind of the start of his run, or like almost the start. Of his run.
That was the starting point. That was the exclamation mark. That was the I'm here to stay. What I'm getting at is closing odds sometimes can be telling, right? The money was going towards Peter Yan. Peter Yan does not close as an underdog. I think it might have been once Aljamain Sterling in the rematch, or no, the first fight. People were actually on Aljamain. That's it.
What sucks is I'm making a case to bet Yan, but I cannot actually bet Yan in Massachusetts. Nor can you. So can't even bet this fight.
Are you kidding me? So I'm gonna go to the main event.
I'm serious. You can't bet this fight. I literally looked for it. I was like, it's funny. I've done this the last couple times that these Russian fighters have fought in these mains, and if you're a mass, you can't bet this fight. So.
Well, I wonder I can't even see what the spread would be, but if you could have, would you have taken a stab on the spread for Peter Yan? Because I feel like that would be an interesting way to dissect this thing.
Yeah, I would. I definitely would.
And it might be plus money. Sportsbooks have to be favoring round
I think
winner.
it would be plus money.
Yeah. So we both were like, And we know we need a piece of this fight for fantasy. We have no balls to fade it. It's like 85% owned combined for this fight. You know, it's 60% to 65 for Marab and whatever, 20% for Jan. So if you're fading the fight, you're literally paying rake, which is about 15%. Like, I think that's a great opportunity. So rake-free contests for everybody. But in all honesty, I love Marab. He's super easy. It's like dynamic pricing eventually may happen, because if you had dynamic pricing, Marab would be fucking 12-5. Then you can't play him. You know what I mean? Like, there's just no way you can. Until that point comes, you're going to have to take that nice little floor. What is his floor? Is his floor 95? In a loss, he could score. Yeah, Marab in a loss and a decision could score 95.
Yeah, in a loss. Yeah, he probably could score 95.
Kind of bizarre, but yeah, I think we
Again,
nailed the card.
it's again, how are you scoring if Jan is just getting up? Like, how are you scoring those take? The key is going to be, can Jan up the pressure? Okay, you got two good arms, whatever. Can you up the pressure? Can you stuff the takedowns like last time, but can you up and add to the pressure? That, because, you know, Marab obviously is pressure all the time. He's got to close to match that.
Yeah. I wish I could. I'm opening up the sports book to look at the over under on the takedowns for Jan, just to see if there's any value.
I'm sure it's one.
I can't see if there's any value.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure it's one.
Yeah, exactly. So regardless, how are you making your lineups? I mean, pick six, we're just going to like cop out where we are, right? We're not touching anything. 130.5. You can't even say under. I know you like going unders.
No, you can't. I would rather go under on Pantoja for sure than Marab.
Yeah, but we got all 6 legs, right?
Yeah, we got 6, so it doesn't even we don't matter. It doesn't matter here. But
you want to go over what our pick 6 is, and then just lead into how you're going to attack this thing.
And also, too, DraftKings, they've got a 30% boost, it looks like, for UFC, which is pretty sweet. Got a match.
Sportsbook has one.
Yeah, and a boost one there. But our pick 6s here, we've got Abdul Malik for under 111.5 fantasy points. Jalen Turner, fight time over 6.5 minutes of fight time. Afrasiam over on fantasy points. Macy Barber over on 74.5 fantasy points. Jan Blachowicz under 76.5 fantasy points. And Tatsuro Taira under 39.5 significant strikes. $50 to win 1150 with the boost. Bang.
Like a boost. We're checking the location. Where are we? Let's talk about building lineups. Want me to break it down and then flip it to you and we'll get the hell out of here?
Yep.
It's as simple as this. It's a Merab DVALISHVILI card. How are you going to differentiate? The starting lineups is going to be Merab and Pantoja. People are going to start their lineups there. And I think that's just a wrong way to attack this thing, because there's going to be so many duplicated. Unless you're leaving like 1,000 on the table, you're doing it wrong to try to get $100,000 by yourself. So if I'm clicking in Merab, which I obviously am, I'm looking towards differentiating in the middle range. Like we talked about all of these obvious plays, right? You talk about a lot of people going towards the Ferreira and Sadyakov. I think that's a trap, JSU. I truly think those two plays in particular are trappy, and when the favorite wins, that's a fight busts as a whole. So like, you know, if Zion wins, maybe he has a higher ceiling. He clearly has a higher ceiling than Vettori, but I still don't want to play him. I wish I could. I'm more off to play leverage on this slate. And those are guys like Manuel Torres, Ibu Aslan. Those are the two key cogs for me on this slate. I don't know about you. I know you like clearly we all love the McKinney and Duncan. I think you sacrifice something right in the middle range for ownership if you're fading it. Like, I don't know how that one busts, but it's like they're both going to be 30% in McKinney and Duncan. So like maybe there's a world where the 40% it busts. I don't see it. So Goosegoffs of the world, right? Like that's a guy where you and I were high on. So I don't know if that's going to be a differentiating factor. I just point back to Ibu or Taurus being keys for me on this slate. The other thing, potentially a stack. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't say if there is a stack, it's going to be Peter Yan. It's crazy to say, but it could be an absolute war where Peter scores 90 points in a loss. We've seen like this happen in the past. I don't think it's a high rate, and I don't suggest doing it. I think if you're signing up to do it, you kind of like know you're going to lose. But if you want to really be different, that would be a way to do it. And yeah, don't be afraid to play the likes of like a Macy Barber or a Faris Saim, right? Like I honestly, Tatsuo Taira.
Yeah, those are weird
ones.
Those are my two leverage plays: Macy Barber and Faris Saim for DFS. But yeah, no, I mean, I definitely think that the Chris Duncan, Terrence McKinney, and the Manuel Torres, Grant Dawson fight are fights I want to jam in DFS. And yeah, that's how I'm going to build. And then, obviously you want to have a lot of the Davishvili fight. If you're fading the Davishvili fight, just know like that's going to make you insanely unique if you fade that fight, like insanely unique. So if you're just looking at trying to be unique, trying to have uniques in MMA, trying to solo ship, like that is one way. It's probably not the smartest way, but it is one way to be unique. So,
well, do you make a rule if you're playing Marab to leave money on the table? I don't think it's that crazy because there's so many options. You can get to single-digit ownerships. Like the odd fight out on this entire slate.
I think you just live with the fact that you're probably not going to have a unique winner. Maybe with the 14 fights, maybe you do. But even if you don't, maybe you don't split it with a ton of people. Maybe you only split it with a few friends.
Yeah, and I'd be really remiss if I didn't say the odd fight out on this entire slate is the Taira and Moreno. That's what I uncovered on this podcast. They're both like 10% owned. There's the legit ceiling for either fighter. We kind of both liked the ceiling for Taira for scoring ability on DraftKings, right? Like if there's going to be a guy that explodes on this slate, it would be him. That would get like a deep first round finish for him looks like 110 points. Which really is amazing on this slate for super low owned.
Yeah, 110.
Best bets. Best, man.
Sign me up for that.
Favorites, I like Zion.
Pantoja by sub. Let's just run it in there again. Make it 3 in a row. Pantoja, do it for us. I do like Grant Dawson by decision too, plus 450. That's a fun one.
You're cooking up a round robin for the ages, dude. To end the year, you're gonna be like Mr. Krabs counting all his monies or something. Because
I hope so.
Let's talk about the two that you pointed out. I really, really like betting into numbers that are the best in out there, right? And DraftKings Sportsbook had two numbers that we picked. It was a plus 1,800, and then what was the other one? A plus 850. You had 850 was really nice. For Duncan, second round. That is an elite number. That number should not stay on DraftKings.
Yeah, and Marvin Vettori, 18-1, third round, and Macy Barber, I think it was 11-1 in the second round. Yeah.
Oh, you didn't go with my same game parlay to do the over whatever it is, 5 minutes.
I had already bet it, so I already bet it.
That's okay. Yeah, but definitely – I think we both liked Faris Saim. I wish we had a better price tag. I wish it was a minus 125 for him. Hopefully he's a live bet opportunity. I honestly hope that Saidikov goes balls to the wall and I can buy in on Zion a little bit later. But it is a live bet type of card. So make sure you guys are getting into the Discord, right? There's going to be a lively Discord tonight. You muted. 9K rankings. I think you're muted, dude.
So, sorry. Someone said rank the 9Ks. Yeah. I mean, Davishvili's got to be one. I think Pantoja. I think I'd go Davishvili, Pantoja, Abdul Malik, Jalen Turner, Peyton Talbot, Santos would be my rankings. What about you?
Mean, Marab way in his own tier. Pantoja, you're doing it wrong. If you don't rank Marab, Pantoja 1, 2, you're doing it wrong. And then from there, I'm going to play the ownership game. But I really can't, can I? I think it's a salary, I guess. It'd be Jalen Turner. But you can easily get Abdul. Like, they're right there on the 3. Nobody's getting to Santos. He's the odd man out. Peyton Talbot, Santos, yeah, 9K. And the fun thing is you can really get crafty up there, right? Like, you could. Yeah. The obvious build is DVALISHVILI and Pantoja. When you get off of that, you're getting very unique.
I agree.
Take us out of here.
All right, man. Good luck, everyone, in your UFC on DraftKings this week. We'll see you guys next week for the final card of the year. For Mike, I'm JSU. We're out of here.